Did you really
Right.
lose sleep over that joke you made about carrying the pod? Was that real?
I did. Sincerely, I did. If you could have been in the room at that moment, the way it landed, I felt like I may have offended people or hurt someone. Not hurt someone's feelings. That's not right. But I thought I may have. I was kidding, but I could see how somebody would think I wasn't. In the room in that moment, I felt like might have. I was like, sometimes you just hit a joke and you think you went. I would just feel like maybe I went too far.
So you kind of
Especially
over.
because they don't know my sense of humor. People don't fully know my sense of humor. I
Mm.
think people are just starting to get me a little bit. They started off thinking I was super not super serious, and they realize I'm kind of silly, and then they realize I'm kind of. And it's kind of there's like the different phases, you know what I mean? And it's like, but it's all love and it's all sincere. And so I didn't know in that moment how people felt about it. And I didn't say anything about it. And then we did a Patreon after that, and everything was cool. Everybody, it was all love, but it was still on my mind. And I think I may have left early that day for like a scheduling thing. I can't remember. But I know the next morning Ian texted me and made a joke about it or mentioned it, and I was like, and he thought it was funny. He wasn't like,
you get him.
And no, it was more like, it was like, yo, good. I mean, we text each other all the time about funny things. I text every cast member like when I on the rewatch, like, yo, that was funny. Like it was on my mind when I went to bed, and then I woke up at like 2 or 3 in the morning. I was thinking about it for a while. I was like, should I send a group text like, yo, y'all, I hope that joke didn't go too far. My bad. But then I was like, I didn't want to draw attention to it if it wasn't that. I didn't want to make a bigger thing out of it. So I said, let me just let it sit. Then I said, well, I could pull people aside or say it off camera. But then I was like, if like you say something on camera, I think it's corny to apologize off camera. So I didn't know. But it turned out nobody was tripping. So it was not a thing.
Yeah, Mark Lamont Hill was on Spaces a couple of days ago. And there was a time when Mark Lamont Hill arrived where people were saying he was so good, he was carrying the show. And he would make a joke about how he carried the show so much that he acquired an injury. And here's what he said.
Anybody up there that's getting 225 off that bench press, it's not me, but shout out to y'all.
I've been able to do it because I've been getting stronger carrying all y'all. Oh, shit.
Don't say bye-bye. Now, what he said would be so funny that he would have to apologize because he would say that there was people in the room that looked uncomfortable when he made that joke. Now, if I had to look at who appeared uncomfortable, I would say Ice. I mean, you heard auditory, oh my God, how could you say that? And I also think Ish is another person. Now, one thing that Mark also said was Ian Schwartzman reached out to him and said, hey, man, you're doing a good job. So it's not a big deal. I'm just saying it's something that I think is interesting to kind of show the infrastructure of the Joe Budden Network, that when people perform well, they get a text from Joe Budden's manager, presumably a partner of the Joe Budden Network, saying, hey, you're doing a good job. But why did Mark feel the need to apologize for a joke that I felt was pretty, it was a fun joke. You were, in the sense, you're not saying that you're carrying the Joe Budden podcast, even though a lot of people feel like you are, but the fact that you felt you needed to apologize, to me, illustrates that his arrival is bothering some folks. And if you look at how every cast member has had to interact with Mark Lamont Hill, you might see why he felt the need to apologize. First, there is Ish, right? Ish was the smartest guy in the room, a big fish in a small pond. But when Mark Lamont Hill arrived, somebody who is academically inclined and well-researched, it just looked different. It's kind of like like when you see a D2 player playing and you're like, man, this guy is ill, bro. Like, this guy is unstoppable. You see him in the league and he's like, oh my God, he's one of the best players ever. And then you see a D1 player, a Division I player in college, you're like, whoa, that D2 player isn't that good. There's a reason why he ain't go to Duke. There's a reason why he's in Bababoa State, So that's something that happened to Ish. Then we see Flip, who himself has also went through some exchanges with Mark Lamont Hill that I think he realized, like, I really can't go back and forth with him. Not only is he well inclined, but he can also get disrespectful, and that could lead to a situation where I might want to fight Mark. Yeah, I know you guys are saying he won't fight Mark, but he might want to, and that could lead to a lot of stress. And because at this point, even if you have an issue with Mark on the JBP, you can't really articulate it because he's so much better than the rest of the cast. Like, what is Mark? Like, is Ish gonna say, I feel uncomfortable? Is Flip gonna say, I feel uncomfortable? I would be like, if I was Joe, I'd be like, shut up, man. Just do your job. He's great. Be quiet. And there's Melissa Ford, who obviously they've interacted before. There's even rumors on Lipstick Alley that they've dated. So she's probably cool with it because, hey, he is the prototype of whatever masculinity or academic masculinity that she likes. So she is down for the cause. But let me know what you think. Do you find it odd that Mark lost sleep? Do you even think he really lost sleep? Do you think he was actually with his wife at night looking up at the ceiling and was like, oh my God, I can't believe I made that joke? Or do you feel like he had to soothe the ego of fragile men? And that's why when we were on Spaces, I asked him that question. I said, did you really feel like you needed to apologize? And he said yes. And I take it to be genuine, but I also wonder if he was pandering in order to be more comfortable around his coworkers. And for him to say it on air, also, like, it didn't seem like he said it to them in person. Like, he didn't apologize to them in person. He said it on air, so he wanted it to be on air for a certain reason. I think there was a strategy to that. All right, y'all. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.